ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। सुमुखश्च एकदन्तश्च कपिलो गजकर्णकः लंबोदरश्च विकटो विघ्नराजो विनायकः धूमकेतुर्गणाध्यक्षः फालचन्द्रो गजाननः वक्रतुण्डः सूर्पकर्णो हेरम्बः स्कन्दपूर्वजः शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये यस्य विरदवक्त्राढ्याः पारिषद्याः परस्सतं विघ्नं निघ्नन्ति सततं विश्वक्सेनं तमाश्रये। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवत्वेषिणीम्। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सस्तु धीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महते वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भीष्मद्रोण तथा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला हस्तत्ताम विकर्ण घोर मकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैः रणनवी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्तोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधना बोधितम् लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरहः पीपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारतपङ्कजं कलिमलप्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घ्यते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैः स्तवैः वेदैः साङ्ख्यपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ पंचमोऽध्यायः। अर्जुन उवाच संन्यासं कर्मणां कृष्ण पुनर्योगं च संससि यच्छ्रेय एतयोरेकं तन्मे ब्रूहि सुनिश्चितम्। श्रीभगवान् उवाच संन्यासकर्मयोगश्च श्रेयसकरावुभौ तयोस्तु कर्मसंन्यासात् कर्मयोगो विशिष्यते। ये यत्र नित्यसंन्यासी यो न द्वेष्टि न काङ्क्षति निर्द्वन्द्वो हि महाबाहो सुखं बन्धात् प्रमुच्यते। सांख्ययोगौ पृथक् बालाः प्रवदन्ति न पंडिताः एकमप्यास्ति तत्सम्यक् उभयोर्विन्दते फलम्। यत्साङ्ख्यैः प्राप्यते स्थानं तद्योगैरपि गम्यते। एकं साङ्ख्यं च योगं च यः पश्यति स पश्यति। संन्यासस्तु महाबाहो दुःखमाप्तुमयोगतः। योगयुक्तो मुनिर्ब्रह्म न चिरेणाधिगच्छति। योगयुक्तो विशुद्धात्मा विजितात्मा जितेन्द्रियः। सर्वभूतात्मभूतात्मा कुर्वन्नपि न लिप्यते। नैव किञ्चित् करोमीति युक्तो मन्येत तत्त्ववित्। पश्यन् शृण्वन् स्पृशन् जिघ्रन् अस्मिन् गच्छन् स्वपन् स्वसन्। प्रलपन् विसृजन् गृह्णन् निमिषन्नपि। इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्त इति धारयन्। ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः। लिप्यते न स पापेन पद्मपत्रमिवाम्भसा। कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या केवलैरिन्द्रियैरपि। योगिनः कर्म कुर्वन्ति सङ्गं त्यक्त्वात्मशुद्धये। युक्तः कर्मफलं त्यक्त्वा शान्तिमाप्नोति नैष्ठिकीम्। अयुक्तः कामकारेण फले सक्तो निबध्यते। सर्वकर्माणि मनसा संन्यस्यास्ते सुखं वसी। नवद्वारे पुरे देहि नैव कुर्वन्न कारयन्। न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः। न कर्मफलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते। नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः। अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः। ज्ञानेन तु तदज्ञानं येषां नासितमात्मनः। तेषाम् आदित्यवत् ज्ञानं प्रकाशयति तत्परम्। तद्बुद्ध्यस्तदात्मानः तन्निष्ठास्तत्परायणाः। गच्छन्ति अपनुरावृत्तिं ज्ञाननिर्धूतकल्मषाः। विद्या विनयसम्पन्ने ब्राह्मणे गविहस्तिनि। सुनि चैव स्वपाके च पंडिताः समदर्शिनः। इहैव तैर्जितः सर्गो ह्येषां साम्ये स्थितं मनः। निर्दोषं हि समं ब्रह्म तस्मात् ब्रह्मणि ते स्थिताः। न प्रकृष्येत् प्रियं प्राप्य नोद्विजेत् प्राप्य च अप्रियम्। स्थिरबुद्धिरसम्मूढो ब्रह्मणि स्थितः। बाह्यस्पर्शेषु असक्तात्मा विन्दयत्यात्मनि यत्सुखम्। स ब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा सुखम् अक्षयम् अश्नुते। ये हि संस्पर्शजा मोघा दुःखयोनय एव ते। आद्यन्तवन्तः कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधः। शक्नोतीहैव यः सोढुं प्राक्शरीरविमोक्षणात्। कामक्रोधोद्भवं वेगं स युक्तः स सुखी नरः। योऽन्तः सुकोऽन्तरारामः तथान्तर्ज्योतिरेव यः। स योगी ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं ब्रह्मभूतोऽधिगच्छति। लभन्ते ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं ऋषयक्षीणकल्मषाः। छिन्नद्वैधा यथात्मानः सर्वभूतहिते रताः कामक्रोधवियुक्तानां यतीनां यतचेतसाम् अभितो ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं वर्तते विदितात्मनाम् स्पर्शान् कृत्वा बहिर्बाह्यां चक्षुश्चैवान्तरे भ्रुवोः प्राणापानौ समौ कृत्वा नासाभ्यन्तरचारिणौ यतेन्द्रियमनो बुद्धिर्मुनिर्मोक्षपरायणः विगतेच्छाभयक्रोधो यः सदा मुक्त एव सः भोक्तारं यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृतं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिं पृच्छति। ओम तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे कर्मसन्न्यासयोगो नाम पंचमोऽध्यायः। अथ षष्ठोऽध्यायः। श्रीभगवान् उवाच अनाश्रितकर्मफलं कार्यं कर्म करोति यः स सन्न्यासी च योगी च न निरग्निर्च अक्रियः यं सन्न्यासमिति प्राहुः योगं तं विद्धि पाण्डव न हि असंन्यस्तः संकल्पो योगी भवति कश्चन आरुरुक्षोर्मुनेर्योगं कर्म कारणमुच्यते योगारूढस्य तस्यैव समः कारणमुच्यते यदा हि नेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्मस्वनुषज्यते सर्वसंकल्पसन्न्यासी योगरूढस्तदोच्यते उद्धरेदात्मानात्मानं नात्मानम् अवसादयेत् आत्मैव हि आत्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत् जितात्मनः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः ज्ञानविज्ञानतृप्तात्मा कूटस्थो विजितेन्द्रियः युक्त इत्युच्यते योगी समलोष्ठास्मकाञ्चनः सुहृन् मित्र उदासीन मध्यस्थ द्वेष्य बन्धुषु साधुषु अपि च पापेषु समबुद्धिर्विशिष्यते योगी युञ्जीत सततम् आत्मानं रजसि स्थितः एकाकी यतचित्तात्मा निराशीर् अपरिग्रहः शुचौ देशे प्रतिष्ठाप्य स्थिरमासनमात्मनः नात्युच्छ्रितं नातिनीचं शैलाजिनकुशोत्तरमम् तत्रैकाग्रं मनः कृत्वा यतचित्त इन्द्रियक्रियः उपविश्यासने युज्यात् योगमात्मविशुद्धये समं कायशिरोग्रीवं धारयन् अचलं स्थिरः सम्प्रेक्ष्य नासिकाग्रं स्वं दिशश्चानवलोकयन् प्रशान्तात्मा विगतभिर्ब्रह्मचारी व्रते स्थितः मनः संयम्य मच्चित्तो युक्त आसीत मत्परः युञ्जन्नेवं तदात्मानं योगी नियतमानसः शान्तिं निर्वाणपरमां मत्संस्थाम् अधिगच्छति न अत्यस्नतस्तु योगोऽस्ति न चैकान्तमनस्नतः न चाति स्वप्नशीलस्य जाग्रतो नैव च अर्जुन युक्ताहारविहारस्य युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः। यदा विनियतं चित्तमात्मन्येवावतिष्ठते निःस्पृहः सर्वकामेभ्यो युक्त इत्युच्यते तदा। यथा दीपो निवातस्थो नेङ्गते सोपमा स्मृता। योगिनो यतचित्तस्य युज्यन्तो योगमात्मनः यत्रो परमते चित्तं निरुद्धं योगसेवया। यत्र चैवात्मनात्मानं पश्यन्नात्मनि तुष्यति। सुखमात्यन्तिकं यत्तत् बुद्धिग्राह्यम् अतीन्द्रियं वेत्ति यत्र न चैवायं स्थितश्चलति तत्त्वतः। यं लब्ध्वा चापरं लाभं मन्यते नाधिकं ततः। यस्मिन् स्थितो न दुःखेन गुरुणापि विचाल्यते तं विद्या दुःखसंयोग वियोगं योगसंचितं। स निश्चयेन योक्तव्यो योगो निर्विण्णचेषसा। संकल्पप्रभवान् कामान् त्यक्त्वा सर्वानशेषतः मनसैवेन्द्रियग्रामं विनियम्य समन्ततः शनैरुपरमेत् बुद्ध्या धृतिगृहीतया आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चित् अपि चिन्तयेत्। यतो यतो निश्चरति मनश्चञ्चलमस्थिरम् ततस्ततो नियम्यैत् तदात्मन्येव वशं नयेत्। प्रशान्तमनसं ह्येनं योगिनं सुखमुत्तमम् उपैति शान्तरजसं ब्रह्मभूतमकल्मषम्। युञ्जन्नेवं तदात्मानं योगी विगतकल्मषः सुखेन ब्रह्म संस्पर्शम् अत्यन्तं सुखमश्नुते। सर्वभूतस्थमात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि ईक्षते योगयुक्तात्मा सर्वत्र समदर्शनः। यो मां पश्यति सर्वत्र सर्वं च मयि पश्यति तस्याहं न प्रणश्यामि स च मे न प्रणश्यति। सर्वभूतस्थितं यो मां भजति एकत्वम् आस्थितः सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि स योगी मयि वर्तते। आत्मौपं येन सर्वत्र समं पश्यति योऽर्जुन सुखं वा यदि वा दुःखं स योगी परमो मतः। अर्जुन उवाच योऽयं योगस्त्वया प्रोक्तः साम्येन मधुसूदन एतस्याहं न पश्यामि चञ्चलत्वास्थितं स्थिराम्। चञ्चलं हि मनः कृष्ण प्रमाति बलवदृढम् तस्याहं निग्रहं मन्ये वायोरिव सुदुष्करम्। श्रीभगवानुवाच असंशयं महाबाहो मनो दुर्निग्रहं चलम् अभ्यासेन तु कौन्तेय वैराग्येन च गृह्यते। असंयतात्मना योगो दुष्प्राप इति मे मतिः वस्यात्मना तु यतता शक्य अवाप्तुम् उपायतः। अर्जुन उवाच अयति श्रद्धयोपेतो योगाचलितमानसः अप्राप्य योगसंसिद्धिं कां गतिं कृष्ण गच्छति। कश्चिन्नो भयविभ्रष्टः छिन्नाभ्रम् इव नश्यति अप्रतिष्ठो महाबाहो विमूढो ब्रह्मणः पति। एतन्मे संशयं कृष्ण चेतुमर्हस्य शेषतः त्वदन्यः संशयस्यास्य चेता न हि उपपद्यते। श्रीभगवान् उवाच पार्थ नैवेह विनाशस्तस्य विद्यते न हि कल्याणकृत् कश्चित् दुर्गतिं तात गच्छति। प्राप्य पुण्यकृतां लोकान् उषित्वा सास्वती समाः शुचीनां श्रीमतां गेहे योगभ्रष्टोऽभिजायते अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमताम् एतद्धि दुर्लभतरं लोके जन्म ईदृशं तत्र तं बुद्धिसंयोगं लभते पौर्वदेहिकम् यतते च ततो भूयः संसिद्धौ कुरु नन्दन पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव क्रियते ह्यवसोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते प्रयत्नात् यतमानस्तु योगी संसिद्धकिल्बिषः अनेकजन्म संसिद्धः ततो याति परां गतिम् तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्मात् योगी भव अर्जुन योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां स मे युक्ततमो मतः। ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे आत्मसंयमयोगो नाम षष्ठोऽध्यायः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। Embracing divinity through renunciation. Adhyayam 5, Sannyasa Yoga, Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Arjuna said, Krishna, you praise both giving up action and also embracing action. Among these two, which one is really superior? Decide this carefully and tell me. Sri Bhagavan said, giving up of action as well as embracing it, both have the capacity for benefits. Among these two, doing action is better than not doing it. He who neither hates nor desires, my dear mighty-shouldered Arjuna, is to be understood as an eternal renunciant. Having freed himself from the attraction of the opposite, he very easily frees himself from the bondage of action. It is the amateurs, not the scholars, who describe knowledge and action as different. He who establishes himself firmly in any one of these two gets the benefit of both. The final state of awareness attained by the inquirers of knowledge is attained by the practitioners of selfless action also. Knowledge is the same as embracing divinity in action. He who realizes this has indeed realized. O mighty-shouldered Arjuna, without doing action and embracing divinity while doing so, it is very difficult to give up the awareness, I am the doer. But embracing action as divinity itself and becoming skilled at this embrace, one rises to the awareness of Brahman promptly. With mind purified and focused on divinity, with body and senses well controlled, he does his actions attaching himself to the one spirit that motivates him and all beings. Although he undertakes actions, he is not touched by them. The wise, mentally holding on to the indweller and doing actions like seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, dreaming, and breathing, must think, I am not the doer. He must be firm in the conviction that all actions such as speaking, detaching from, attaching to, keeping awake or sleeping, etc., take place because the senses go after their respective sense objects. He who does his actions giving up the mental lock, I am the doer, who does not desire results, and who offers all actions to the indweller, is not touched by sin. In the same way, the lotus leaf is not touched by water. People who do their actions embracing the indweller purify their mental impulses. Whatever actions they do with their body, mind, intelligence, or their senses, they do without attachment to the actions, results, or to the feeling, I am the doer. He who practices the discipline of doing action as selfless sacrifice and who discards the desire for results from his actions attains peace progressively as his discipline progresses. On the other hand, the person without this discipline is impelled by desires for the results of action and gets bound by action. Controlling the senses and mentally giving up attachment to all actions, the indweller resides happily in this body that has 9 doors, neither doing action nor causing action. In this world, God has not created the doers or the deeds or the connection between the two. It's only nature that makes this happen. The ruler of this world receives neither the merits nor the demerits of anyone. Ignorance veils the innate wisdom, confuses and deludes all beings. But for those whose ignorance has been eliminated by the knowledge of the self, their knowledge reveals the shining self itself. Focusing only on that knowledge, embracing that to be one's own self, established on that, and taking that to be one's sole refuge, they are removed from all misfortunes and attain the birthless state. Those who have this knowledge revealed to them, they are the Panditas. For them, the learned and the humble indweller-seeking Brahmanas, cows, elephants, dogs, and dog-eaters all appear the same. Brahman is the same and is without the blemish of differences, isn't it? Those who place their mind in this oneness become one with it. Thereby, they fulfill the purpose of their birth in this life itself. Aware of the knowledge of the self and firmly established in it without any delusion, the Brahmajnani feels neither happiness in coming across the pleasant nor sadness in encountering the unpleasant. Attaching to the indweller and thereby detaching from the contact with the external object, he enjoys the never decreasing bliss of the indweller. My dear son of Kunti, whatever pleasures and enjoyment that contact with the external sense objects give, they all are the birthplace of misery and sadness. They all have a beginning and an end. The wise person does not derive happiness from them. Before discarding his body, he who controls firmly the mental impulse that generates desire and anger gets established with divinity. He indeed is a peaceful one. He who has embraced the peace and the ecstatic bliss of the indweller shines in its effulgence. He is a yogi indeed. Even while living in the body, he is able to remove the false notion of being separate from the indweller and becomes one with it. Those whose sins and doubts have ended, whose senses are under control, and who always seek the welfare of all beings or rishis, they are able to remove the false notion of being separate from the indweller and become one with it. Embracing the indweller, the renunciants control their mental impulses and are free of desire and anger. They are able to remove the false notion of being separate from the indweller and become one with it. He is ever free, who keeps away the contact with the external sense objects, focuses his vision at the center of his eyebrows, experiences the balance in the incoming and outgoing breath moving through his nostrils, keeps the senses, mind, and intelligence under control, seeks to embrace the indweller, is devoid of desire, fear, and anger, and meditates on the indweller. Knowing me as the enjoyer of all penances and sacrifices, As the Lord of all worlds, as the true friend of all beings, he attains peace. Embracing divinity through meditation. Adhyayam 6, Dhyana Yoga or Atma Samyama Yoga. Sri Bhagavan said, a renunciant and a yogi is one who does his actions without depending on the results, not the one who discards his spiritual disciplines or the one who remains inactive. My dear Pandava, know that what has been described as a renunciation is embracing divinity only. None can embrace divinity without sacrificing the desire to possess. It is said that for the seeker of freedom, doing action is the means of progress. Purification of the mind is the means as he progresses to embrace the indweller and become skilled at it. He starts embracing the indweller when he doesn't attach himself to the sense objects or actions and renounces all possessive desires and resultant resolutions. One must progress by one's own efforts. One must not put oneself down, because one is one's own friend and enemy as well. Is it not so? He who has mastered himself is his own friend. He who has not mastered himself becomes his own enemy and plays the role of an opponent to himself. He who has mastered himself stays peaceful and undisturbed while contacting the opposing sensations of cold and heat, and remains unperturbed by honor and humiliation. His peace is firm and stable. He who is content with experiencing the truth of the spiritual teachings through personal practice, whose thoughts, words, and actions are in purified alignment, who has mastered his senses and who perceives sand, stone, and gold as the same, is said to be firmly established in the indweller. He who perceives the uniting common thread among the good-hearted people, friends, and enemies, people minding their own business without being concerned with either helping or harming others, people who are neutral in their disposition, people given to hatred, relatives, noble souls, and sinners, is most exalted indeed. The person who wants to embrace divinity must always, in the privacy of solitude, install himself with the indweller. He must control his body and mind, must be without desires and possessive tendencies. In a clean place, he prepares a stable seat for himself that is neither too high nor too low, and covers it with grass, animal skin, and a piece of cloth. Seated on that, controlling the impulses of the mind and senses, and directing them to the indweller, he must practice the purification of his mind. Keeping his body, head, and neck erect, stable and motionless, without cognizing external objects, with eyes focused on the tip of the nose, facilitating one-pointed mental vision, without fear of any sort, with a controlled and peaceful mind, practicing celibacy, keeping me as the goal and thinking of me, he becomes spiritually skillful and competent. The committed seeker, who thus always controls his mind with focus on me, attains the peace of the ultimate freedom that is established in me. My dear Arjuna, this peace is not available to the one who eats excessively, or to the one who starves, to the one who sleeps excessively, or to the one who abstains from sleep. The skilled spiritual practitioners who practice moderation in food, living, action, and sleep are able to embrace the indweller without difficulty. When he has disassociated himself from all desires, and when his well-controlled mind gets firmly established in the indweller, then he is said to be spiritually skilled. The learned say that the mental impulses of the spiritual aspirant whose well-controlled mind is focused on the indweller do not flicker in the same way a flame in a windless space does not flicker. When the mental impulses cease to exist by serving the indweller continuously, then the indweller is contacted and bliss is experienced. Knowing this bliss to be endless, beyond the senses and realizable only in wisdom, knowing that there is no slippage once established in this bliss, realizing after attaining this bliss that there is no attainment more important, experiencing while established in this bliss that even major hardships do not cause any disturbance whatsoever. Understand this bliss to be the embrace of the indweller. It is without sadness. Practice this with determination and conviction. Totally eradicating all desires born from acquisitive resolutions and actions. Reining in the senses from all directions with the mind, seek continuously and firmly to be peaceful with the courage and determination of wisdom. Direct and fix the mind on the indweller with no other thoughts. Whatever the reasons may be, whenever the unstable and unsteady mind goes after external things, at that time and place, the mind must be instantly and immediately controlled and placed with the indweller only. The most sublime bliss reveals itself and embraces this embracer of divinity, whose mind is at rest, whose aggressive impulses have been pacified, who is sinless and who has become Brahman himself. When the spiritual aspirant thus practices the focusing on the indweller at all times, no sins attach to him, and he very easily touches the indweller. The bliss he experiences then is endless indeed. With his mind immersed in the practice of focusing on the indweller, he experiences a unity among the apparent diversities. He sees the same indweller appearing as himself and all the things around as well. He who sees me everywhere and sees all things in me is never lost to me, nor am I lost to him. That spiritual aspirant who is established in the experience of unity in the apparent diversities, worshipping me present in all beings, gets established in me at all times, regardless of whatever actions he undertakes. My dear Arjuna, that spiritual aspirant who always keeps himself with the indweller and experiences both pleasure and misery to be the same, is the most exalted, so it has been ascertained. Arjuna said, my dear Madhusudana, you have explained this practice and perspective of equal-mindedness, but I am unable to grasp its steady basis with my unsteady mind. Look, my dearest Krishna, the mind is unsteady, unruly, obstinate, and irrepressible, isn't it? I believe controlling the mind is like controlling the wind, very difficult to do. Sri Bhagavan said, no doubt, mighty-shouldered Arjuna, the mind is very difficult to control. It is unsteady, there's no doubt about this. But my dear son of Kunti, it is possible to control the mind with the practice of directing it to the indweller. It is my assertion that this is not possible for the one who has not mastered his senses and controlled his desires. But the one who, controlling his senses and desires, attempts to control his mind will definitely achieve it. Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, although he has faith, he doesn't make the necessary effort and slips from the discipline of embracing the indweller. Failing to attain the bliss of the indweller, where does he end up? Oh, mighty-shouldered Krishna, weak-willed, he is not firm in following the dictates of the indweller and thereby does not get established with the indweller. Does he then not lose both the worlds and perish, just as the cloud gets scattered by the wind and perish? Krishna, you are the most qualified to fully remove this doubt of mine. There's no one other than you who can remove this doubt, is there? See, Bhagavan said, my dear Partha, listen, the person who does all his actions for the welfare of others does not perish in this life or in the afterlife. My dear child, he never ever will get any difficulties. The person who practices embracing the indweller but slips and discontinues it attains the heaven upon leaving the body, lives there for many years, and then takes birth again in the home of the pure-hearted and the wealthy. Or he takes birth in the home of the spiritually disciplined and the wise. Such births are difficult to get indeed. My dear beloved Kuru, his spiritual maturity at rebirth is at the level attained in the previous body. He then strives to progress further in efforts to embrace the indweller. Unconsciously, if impelled by the practices undertaken by the previous body, even a sincere inquirer of the knowledge about the indweller transcends the bondage of actions originating in the Vedas. The committed spiritual practitioner who practices embracing the indweller with perseverance, gets purified of sins, progresses step by step to fulfillment through many births, and attains the most exalted and glorious state of the indweller. This yogi is superior to those performing penance, superior to the knowledge seekers, superior even to those that are action-driven. It has been asserted so. Therefore, my dear Arjuna, be a yogi. But he who worships me with faith and determination, with mind immersed in me, is superior to all the yogis. He is the most exalted of them all, Mahayogi. This is my considered opinion. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om.